Here comes the medical examiner's truck with Ashanti in it and her baby.
To be honest with you, my body's been numb ever since I've received this phone call. We was hoping for the best, but now we've heard the worst. Being pregnant 8 months with my first grandson, I can't even imagine, I can't even tell you how I feel. My body is just completely numb. I don't think I even processed the fact that my daughter's gone.
Houston, Texas, the fourth largest city in the United States of America, home to NASA, home to the Texas Medical Center, the largest medical complex on the planet, home to some of the most resilient, most beautiful, most defiant black communities this country has ever produced. This is a city that gave us Beyonce, gave us Travis Scott, gave us Megan Thee Stallion, a city that knows how to hold its head up even when the water is rising. And y'all know I mean that, both literally and figuratively, because Houston has survived floods that would break lesser cities. But Houston's also a city with shadows. And in those shadows, in the early morning hours of a 2026 night thick with Gulf Coast humidity, something happened to a young woman named Ashanti Allen, something that would rip her family apart, ignite a firestorm on social media, expose a legal loophole so infuriating it'll make your blood run cold, and spark a movement that her community refuses to let die. Welcome back to MotiveX. I have been documenting true crime cases in the black community for years. I have listened to mothers who buried their daughters. I have read police reports that made me physically sick. I have watched case after case slip through the cracks of a justice system that was never designed to protect us. But this case, y'all, this case hit different because Ashanti Allen was not just a victim. She was a daughter. She was a sister. She was a friend. She was a mother-to-be, 8 months pregnant, glowing in that way that black women glow when they're carrying life inside them. She was a queen in the truest sense of that word. And what happened to her and what happened after is a story every single one of us needs to hear. So get comfortable. Make your tea. Stay with me for this entire video because every phase of this story matters. You cannot understand the ending without living through the beginning. This is the case of Ashanti Allen. To understand what happened to Ashanti Allen, you first need to understand who Ashanti Allen was. Because in true crime, and baby, I have learned this lesson the hard way, victims get reduced. They become case numbers. They become headlines. They become the photograph the news outlet chooses to run, which is almost never the photo the family would have chosen. The humanity gets stripped away, and what we're left with is a tragedy instead of a person. Ashanti Allen deserves better than that. So let's start with her. Ashanti was the kind of woman who was magnetic. Her family described her as someone who never met a stranger. She could walk into a room full of people she'd never met and within 30 minutes know everybody's name, everybody's situation, and already be plotting on how to help somebody. That was just who she was. She had that real, authentic gift for connection that you cannot fake and cannot manufacture. You either have it or you don't, and Ashanti had it in abundance. She was Houston through and through. Born and raised in that beautiful, complicated, contradictory city. She knew her neighborhood, knew her community, knew her people. Houston wasn't just where she lived, it was in her. And in early 2026, Ashanti Allen was 8 months pregnant. 8 months. If you have ever been pregnant or close to someone who was, you know what 8 months means. You are in the final stretch. Your body has been doing this extraordinary, exhausting, miraculous work for nearly a year. The nursery is either done or you're scrabbling to finish it. You're washing tiny onesies. You're counting kicks. You're holding your breath because you know the most important moment of your life is only weeks away. Ashanti was there. Right on the threshold of becoming a mother, her family said she was excited. Nervous the way any first-time mother is nervous, but mostly just lit up by the whole thing. She would talk about her baby constantly, what she imagined the baby's personality would be like, what she was going to teach them, what kind of childhood she was going to create. She had plans, real, specific, loving plans. She was going to be an amazing mother. Everyone who knew her knew that. Now, let's talk about the relationship. because you cannot understand this case without understanding the dynamic that Ashanti was living inside of. Relationships are complicated. Life is complicated. It is never as simple as the headlines make it seem. But the facts are the facts. Ashanti was in a relationship with a man we're going to call, because this is his name on court documents, Kevin Faux. The relationship between Ashanti and Kevin had been characterized by people close to her as turbulent.
Like he hated my sister, like
Yes.
he didn't care about her at all. As much as we did for him, we took him in, we fed him,
Took him
gave
to
him a
church.
car, yeah, everything. And for him to just take her like that and did the way that he took her was just like he had no feelings for her, nothing.
There were concerns. Within her circle, within her family, there had been conversations. The kinds of conversations black women have with their girls when they love somebody and they're scared for them at the same time. You know those conversations. Everybody has either had one or been in one. But Ashanti was 8 months pregnant. And Kevin Faux was the father of that baby. And in Houston, Texas, in early 2026, that was the situation she was navigating. Now we arrive at the moment that started everything. 3:46 in the morning. At 3:46 a.m., Ashanti Allen sent a text message. Think about that time for a second. Not 11 p.m. when people are still up. Not midnight when you might still be scrolling. Not even 2 a.m. when the night owls are going. This is 3:46 in the morning, the hour when the city is genuinely asleep, when the only lights on are the ones that never go off. The contents of that text. I want to be mindful about how I characterize them because some details remain part of active legal proceedings. But what I can tell you is that the people who received that text when they read it the next morning felt their stomachs drop. Because in the cold light of day, the text read differently than it might have in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, maybe you read it and you think, she's fine. She's just upset. I'll call her in the morning. In the cold light of day, after you tried to call her and she hasn't picked up, and you've tried again and again and the phone just keeps going to voicemail. In that light, the text reads like something else entirely. It reads like a goodbye, or a warning, or a plea that nobody answered in time. By morning, Ashanti Allen was gone. 8 months pregnant. Gone. Her family tried to reach her. Tried the phone, tried her address, tried anyone who might have seen her. And what they got back was silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong in your bones. The kind of silence that a family prays is just a misunderstanding right up until the moment they know. They know that it is not. Ashanti's family contacted law enforcement. They reported her missing. And here is where we need to talk about something that happens in this country over and over again. The response that black families receive when they report a missing black woman is not the same response that other families receive. It is not. I am not saying that to be inflammatory. I am saying it because study after study, data point after data point, family testimony after family testimony confirms it. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has documented it. Advocates have screamed about it for decades. Black and Missing Foundation, bless their hearts, has been sounding this alarm since 2008. When a black woman goes missing, the urgency is different. The media coverage is different. The resources allocated are different. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is documented, measurable, real. And Ashanti Allen was 8 months pregnant. 8 months. Somebody needed to find her fast. Before we go any further, I need y'all to do something for me. Right now, in the comments section below this video, type "pro-black woman." Just those 3 words, because what I'm about to walk you through is a story that did not have to end the way it ended. And one of the ways we honor Ashanti Allen is by making sure her story is heard. Not just by us, by everybody. So comment, share this video, send it to your group chats, your sisters, your mothers, your cousins. Because the algorithm is not going to push a story about a missing black woman the way it would push other content. So we have to push it ourselves. We are each other's media. We always have been. If you are not subscribed to this channel, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. I cover cases like Ashanti's every single week. I need you in this community so you don't miss a single one. All right. I love y'all. Let's keep going. 6 days. For 6 days, Ashanti Allen was missing. 6 days during which her family did not sleep, did not eat properly, did not breathe right. 6 days during which everyone who loved her was caught in that excruciating in-between state. Still hoping, still praying, but feeling the hope fray at the edges with every passing hour. The first day you tell yourself there's an explanation. Maybe she needed to get away. Maybe something happened with her phone. You talk yourself off the ledge because the alternative is too terrible to hold. The second day, the explanations start to sound thinner. You've called every friend. You've checked every place. The police report is filed, and now it's just waiting. And the waiting is its own kind of torture. By the third day, the community knows, because that is what black communities do when the system is moving too slowly. And y'all, the system is almost always moving too slowly. We share, we organize, we show up. The tea started spilling on social media within days of Ashanti's disappearance. Family members and friends began posting her photos, sharing her description, telling her story with their own urgency, because they understood something that a police department bureaucracy sometimes forgets. There is a baby involved. There are 2 lives on the line, and every hour that passes is an hour that cannot be recovered. The posts spread the way information spreads in the black internet ecosystem. Fast, passionate, relentless. People who had never met Ashanti Allen were sharing her face, tagging Crime Stoppers and local news stations, pulling information in comment sections, organizing with a kind of efficiency and urgency that would put some professional search operations to shame. And then came the search parties, on the block, in the neighborhoods, along the trails and green spaces near the bayous that thread through Houston's south side like the city's own circulatory system. Houston has an extensive bayou system, over 2,500 miles of waterways that drain this flat, flood-prone coastal city. Some sections are beautiful, maintained with walking trails along their banks. Other sections are wilder, more isolated, overgrown, dark. When you're searching for a missing person in Houston, the bayous are both a resource and a source of dread. A resource because they create corridors, landmarks, logical search routes. A source of dread because when someone is missing and hope is fraying, the mind goes where it does not want to go. The community searched anyway. They searched because their hearts were breaking, not in spite of it. Black women, black men, young people and elders. People who took time off work, who brought their children, who coordinated via group chats and met at designated corners with water bottles and printed flyers, and the fierce, determined energy of people who refuse to accept that someone they love can simply vanish. If you were part of those search parties, if you showed up, if you shared posts, if you prayed, I see you. This community sees you. Ashanti's family sees you. That love was real and it mattered. Day 4, day 5. Each sunrise that came without news was both a gift, because no news meant hope was technically still alive, and a weight, because the math of missing persons cases is brutal, and everyone who has ever watched a case like this knows the math. The first 48 hours are critical. That window for Ashanti was already long past. Day 6. On day 6 of the search for Ashanti Allen, a body was discovered near a bayou in Houston, Texas. I'm going to speak carefully here and truthfully because Ashanti Allen deserves truthfulness.
A developing story in Southwest Houston. The body of a missing pregnant woman has been found. So let's go live to Fox 26's Leslie Delasport. Leslie, what do we know?
Yeah, so Rashi, about an hour ago, the medical examiner took Ashanti Allen's body. Ashanti Allen has been missing for about a week now, and she was 23 years old and 8 months pregnant, and her body was found just behind me here. We're live at Chimney Rock Park on the southwest side. Now, Houston police were investigating after the 23-year-old Ashanti Allen went missing, and again, she was 8 months pregnant. Family members say Allen was experiencing a high-risk pregnancy, often using a wheelchair to get around and sometimes fainting due to her pregnancy. Now, the last person to hear from her was her mother, who says she received a text from Ashanti's phone around 3:50 a.m. on April 10th reading, "I'm leaving and I'm not coming back."
The body recovered was identified as Ashanti Allen. She was 8 months pregnant. Her baby, the baby she had been preparing for, dreaming about, counting down the days to meet, did not survive. I have been doing this work for years, and I have learned to create some professional distance, to hold the tragedy without being consumed by it. I cannot hold this one at a distance. A pregnant black woman, 8 months along. Gone in the night after a 3:46 a.m. text. Found 6 days later near a bayou in the city she called home. Her baby never took a breath outside of her. I want every person watching this to sit with that for a moment. Just sit with it. Because sometimes in our rush to get to the facts and the suspects and the legal proceedings, we skip over the humanity. And the humanity here is staggering. Ashanti Allen was loved. She was expected. Her baby was expected. There was a family waiting. Grandparents, aunties, cousins, friends, all of whom had probably already bought gifts, planned the baby shower, argued about who was going to babysit first. There was a whole future that was supposed to happen, and it was taken. When the news spread through the community, through the group chats, the social media pages that had been coordinating the search, the churches and barbershops and beauty shops and front porches that serve as the nervous system of Black Houston, the grief was immediate, collective, and ferocious. Because grief and rage travel together in these moments. They have to. Because sometimes rage is the only thing that keeps grief from swallowing you whole. People were hurting, and people were angry, and people had questions. Starting with the most obvious, most urgent question of all, who did this? If you are watching this and you are feeling something, if your heart is heavy, if you're angry, if you're crying, that is the correct response. Let yourself feel it. And when you are ready, go to the comments and tell me, have you or someone you know ever had to navigate the system after a missing persons report was filed? Did you feel like the response was adequate? Did you feel like the case was taken as seriously as it should have been? Because Ashanti's story is not isolated. It exists in a larger pattern, and understanding that pattern is how we eventually break it. Drop your experience in the comments. I read every single one. Now, let me tell you about Kevin Faux. I want to do this in a way that is responsible because there are legal proceedings involved. I am not a court of law, and I believe in the presumption of innocence as a legal principle. I want to be clear about that up front. But I am also a documentarian, and a documentarian's job is to put facts in front of an audience and let those facts speak. Kevin Faux was identified by investigators as a person of interest in the death of Ashanti Allen. He was the father of her unborn child. He was someone who had been in her life, in the most intimate quarters of her world, for long enough to know her routines, her patterns, where she would be and when. The relationship had not been peaceful. When people close to Ashanti talked about Kevin in the weeks and months leading up to her disappearance, the picture that emerged was not of a man who was preparing to be a father with joy and commitment. It was something more complicated, more concerning. There are people in your life, and I think every Black woman watching this has either known one or loved one, who present one face to the world and another face behind closed doors, who are charming in public and controlling in private, who weaponize love and use it as a mechanism for something that is not love at all. I am not diagnosing Kevin Faux. I do not know what was in his mind or heart. What I know is what the evidence of this case suggests. What I know is that Ashanti sent a text at 3:46 in the morning. What I know is that she was 8 months pregnant. What I know is that she ended up in a bayou. And I know that when investigators began pulling the thread of this case, the thread led over and over back to Kevin Faux. Now, here is something that comes up in nearly every domestic violence homicide case I have ever researched, because it is important. And it is a pattern that kills Black women in this country at a devastating rate. The period of highest danger in a violent relationship is not when things are at their worst. Let me say that again. The period of highest danger in a violent or controlling relationship is often the period of transition, when a woman is trying to leave or when circumstances are about to change dramatically or when the power dynamic is about to shift. A pregnancy is a transition. A baby changes everything. It changes financial arrangements, living arrangements, what a woman needs and what she is willing to tolerate. 8 months pregnant is a moment when a woman's entire orientation shifts toward the life she is about to bring into the world. That shift can be threatening to someone who has built their sense of power on control. I want every woman watching this who is in a situation that feels uncomfortable, who has a partner whose behavior behind closed doors doesn't match the face they show the world, to hear me. Please tell someone you trust. please have a plan. Please know that the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-723-R, and they are available 24 hours a day. I am putting that in the description of this video. Please share it. Ashanti Allen deserved protection. She deserved a system that took her seriously before 3:46 a.m. She deserved to be believed when things were not right. Whether she received all of that is a question this community has been asking loudly and will continue to ask. Kevin Faux was taken into custody in connection with this case. And when he was taken into custody, that is when the next level of outrage began.
Well, 10 days after a pregnant Houston woman disappeared tonight, her boyfriend and the father of the child has been arrested for capital murder. The U.S. Marshals captured him this morning in Louisiana after a multi-day manhunt.
Yeah, as you can imagine, this family is heartbroken, but they told me that they feel a tad bit of relief after the U.S. Marshals arrested Kevin Faux this morning, the 24-year-old in New Orleans, and he is being charged with capital murder for the killing of Ashanti Allen and their unborn son, Jackson. Now, court documents lay out disturbing details. Investigators say Faux strangled Allen, likely using a cord, which also killed her unborn baby, Jackson. Surveillance video shows Faux with Allen the night she disappeared before her car leaves the area.
Because it wasn't just what happened to Ashanti that broke the community's heart. It was what happened after. Y'all, before I get into the most infuriating part of this story, I need to ask you something. How many of you have ever heard the term 2-for-1 jail credit? Go to the comments right now and type yes or no, because I'm about to explain something that, if you have not heard of it, is going to absolutely shatter your understanding of how this legal system works. Yes or no, right now, comments section. And while you're there, if there is someone in your life going through a custody situation, a domestic situation, a legal situation where they feel like the system is not working, share this video with them. What we're about to discuss is something every single one of us needs to understand. Let's go. Lock in, because what I'm about to explain is the part of this story that went viral. This is the part that had black women across this country absolutely incandescent with rage. The part that had legal scholars and advocates and everyday people in their living rooms and hair salons asking the same question over and over, louder and louder. How is this legal? Let me break it down carefully, completely, because I want every person watching to be able to explain this to someone else after this video is over. In the Texas criminal justice system, and in many states across this country, there exists a sentencing provision called 2-for-1 jail credit. Here is how it works. When a person is incarcerated before conviction, sitting in jail waiting for trial because they cannot make bail, they accumulate what is called pre-trial credit. For every day they sit in that jail cell before conviction, they get credit toward whatever sentence they may eventually receive. That is the 1-for-1 version. 1 day in jail equals 1 day credited toward your sentence. The 2-for-1 version takes this further. Under certain circumstances, a defendant can receive 2 days of sentence credit for every 1 day they actually spend in pretrial detention. You sit in jail for 1 day, and under the 2-for-1 provision, it counts as 2 days of your sentence. Let me put some numbers to this, because the abstract becomes devastating when you attach real numbers. Say a person is sentenced to 10 years for a violent crime. Under standard circumstances, if they serve 2 years in pretrial detention, those 2 years get credited to their sentence. They now owe 8 more years. Under 2-for-1 credit, those same 2 years in pretrial detention get counted as 4 years toward the 10-year sentence. They now owe 6 years, 4 years of the sentence for a violent crime gone, before the person has served a single day of their formal sentence, before justice has even technically begun. Now apply this to the case of Kevin Faux. Apply this to a man accused of killing a pregnant woman. Apply this to a family that lost not just Ashanti, but also her unborn child. Apply this to a community that searched, that prayed, that organized, that held vigils, and then watched as the legal system announced that the time this man spent in pretrial detention was going to be counted twice toward whatever sentence he received. I want to give the full context here because I believe in giving full information, even as I make absolutely clear why this is so deeply wrong in cases like this one. The The 2-for-1 credit provision was historically argued as a reform measure. The argument went like this: the pretrial detention system in America is deeply flawed. People sit in jail, sometimes for years, before being convicted of anything, simply because they cannot afford bail. Poor defendants sit in jail waiting for trial while wealthy defendants go home. This is a documented, serious, real injustice. The 2-for-1 provision was an attempt to address the punitive nature of that pretrial detention, to acknowledge that sitting in jail before your trial, before you've been found guilty, is itself a form of punishment. That is the intent. But here's the problem this case throws into brutal relief. The law does not distinguish. It does not say this provision applies to nonviolent offenses only. It does not say this provision does not apply when you are accused of taking a pregnant woman's life and throwing her into a bayou. The law, as applied, can be used in violent crime cases, in murder cases, in cases where the community's grief is still fresh, where the victim's mother still has her daughter's clothes in the closet, where the baby shower decorations might still be packed in someone's garage because nobody could bring themselves to deal with them. The law does not care about any of that, and that is what broke people. When word of the 2-for-1 credit in this case hit social media, the response was immediate and volcanic. Legal accounts broke down the provision in detail. Community activists who had been covering this case since day one amplified the outrage. Regular people, mothers, sisters, daughters, women who had never heard of Ashanti Allen before that day, shared the information with the fury of people who recognize in the deepest part of themselves that this could have been someone they loved. Because that is the thing about cases like this. They are not abstract to us. They never are. When a black woman is taken in Houston, Texas, there is no black woman anywhere in this country who hears that story and thinks, that could never happen to me or anyone I love. We don't have the luxury of that distance. We never have. Let me tell you exactly what people were angry about, because I want to be precise. It said, the time this man has already spent waiting for justice counts for double. Meanwhile, Ashanti Allen's family has been waiting for justice too. They waited through 6 days of searching. They waited through the discovery at the bayou. They waited through the arrest, the charges, the legal proceedings. They wait every day because grief does not end when the trial ends. Their waiting does not count for double. Their suffering does not get credited toward anything. They do not get a discount on their pain. But the man accused of causing that pain, he gets a 2-for-1. Advocates in Texas and in other states have long argued for reform of pretrial credit laws to exclude violent offenses. The argument is straightforward. The humanitarian rationale for pretrial credit does not apply in the same way to cases involving serious violence, where public safety and justice for victims must be weighed heavily in the calculation. Some states have already drawn these distinctions. Texas has not, at least not yet. What the case of Ashanti Allen did, and this is a piece of her legacy, is force a reckoning. It put this provision in front of millions of people who had never heard of it. It made it impossible to ignore. It created political pressure that does not go away quickly. Because here is what happens when black women get angry about something specific. We do not just stay angry and let it go. We organize, we call representatives, we show up at town halls, we run for office, we become lawyers and advocates. We do the slow, grinding, unglamorous work of changing things. It does not happen overnight. I will not claim that Ashanti's case has already changed Texas law. What I can tell you is that her case is part of a building, growing, thundering demand for change that is not going away. And Ashanti Allen is part of that demand. Her name is part of that demand. To anyone watching this who's in a position of power, if you are a legislator, a DA, a judge, a prosecutor, anyone in the system who can advocate for reform, you have an obligation, not just a political one, not just a legal one, a moral one. Ashanti Allen's family should not have to watch the man accused of taking her life and the life of her unborn child receive a sentencing benefit that reduces his time incarcerated. Not because of a technicality that was later corrected, but because the law as written allows for it. That is not justice. That is not even close to justice. Okay, I need y'all to do something right now. Look up your state representative and your state senator. Google your state. Find my representative. 30 seconds. contact them. Call, email, write, and tell them, I am a constituent and I want to know your position on pretrial sentencing credit provisions in violent crime cases. I want to know if you support reform that excludes violent offenses from 2-for-1 credit provisions. I am watching. I vote. And my community votes. That is a legitimate, peaceful, powerful civic action every single person watching can take today, not someday, today. Put in the comments, I called, I emailed, I will call. Tag a friend who will hold you accountable. This is how we make change when the system doesn't move fast enough on its own. We push together, and we don't stop. Let me bring you home. Let me tell you about legacy. They laid Ashanti Allen to rest.
Family and friends are remembering a life gone too soon. This case has sparked national outrage because Ashanti Allen was 8 months pregnant when she was killed. Behind me, you can see dozens of family and friends are gathered here today to remember her life. Now, I do want to speak with the mother of Ashanti Allen, Teresa Gaines. Teresa, we got your raw reaction to this memorial wall behind me. Talk about her ambition to become a nurse. She was a nursing student, is that correct?
Well, after she had a baby, she was going to go back for nursing. So that was one of her goals, to eventually be a nurse practitioner.
Would you say this wall is a good representation of what she enjoyed in life?
Oh, yes, everything. It's beyond what I could have even imagined. Like I said, she's a wrestling fan, of course. CM Punk was her favorite. Football, she loved to sing. She read a Bible, she knew God. And this is her beloved dog that had passed right there. And then the names of the other dogs that she had. My baby girl.
Black funerals are something particular and something sacred. They are not just ceremonies of loss. They are declarations of value. They are the community saying, with their physical presence, with their tears, with their voices raised in song, this person mattered. This person was ours, and we refuse to let them be forgotten. When the church fills up for Ashanti Allen, because the community had been fighting for her since the moment she disappeared, that is a sanctuary full of people who loved her, who knew her, who laughed with her and ate with her and grew up with her and imagined the future she was going to have. That sanctuary is also full of people who are heartbroken and furious and determined, because grief and determination travel together in these moments too. Beyond the funeral, the community created something more lasting. Vigils were held. Memorials were organized, not just in the immediate aftermath, but ongoing, because grief does not follow a schedule and neither does community. Her name became a rallying point, not just a name and a headline, not just a hashtag that trended for a news cycle, but a name, a real name that real people carry with them, that mothers whisper to their daughters as a cautionary tale and a call to action, that advocates write on signs and speak into microphones, that legislators hear in their offices when constituents call. Ashanti Allen. There is a movement in this country, growing for years, fed by case after case after case, that insists on something that should not have to be radical, that black women deserve to be searched for, that black women deserve to be believed, that black women deserve the same urgency, the same resources, the same media coverage, the same legal protection that the system offers more readily to others. Here is what I believe is Ashanti's legacy. Ashanti Allen made people pay attention. Not because she died, not because of the tragedy, but because of who she was and what she represented. She was young, she was vibrant, she was about to be a mother. She was the kind of person every family has, the one who makes every gathering better, who holds things together, who carries light wherever she goes. And when that person is taken from you, when the system not only fails to prevent it but compounds the insult, the rage that follows is not just grief. It is clarity. The community did not just mourn Ashanti. They saw themselves in her. They saw their daughters and their sisters and their best friends. They looked at what happened to her and recognized with terrible clarity that the protections they had assumed were in place are not as strong as they need to be. And from that clarity, things move. Because here is what I have learned in all my years of covering cases in the Black community. We do not stay broken. We cannot afford to. We have never been able to afford to. We bend under the weight of these losses. Lord knows we bend, but we do not break. And every time the system fails one of us, we come back louder. We come back with more knowledge, more organization, more power than we had before. We name the provisions that allow injustice. We call out the loopholes. We build the movements that reshape the world one policy at a time, one election at a time, one conversation at a time. Ashanti Allen is part of that history now. Her name will be spoken at legislative hearings. Her case will be cited in advocacy materials. Her face will appear on the screens of people who are learning right now that 2-for-1 jail credit exists and that it can be applied in violent crime cases and that this is not acceptable. She did not choose this legacy. She chose to live her life, to have her baby, to be joyful in Houston, Texas in 2026. She chose the future she was building, not the story that was forced upon her. But since this is the story that exists, since this is the reality that her family and her community and every one of us is left to live with, I believe she would want something to come from it. I believe that every Black woman who watches this video and makes a phone call, sends an email, shares this story, understands a law they didn't understand before. Every single one of those actions is a piece of a future that honors her. To Ashanti's family, if you are watching this, I am so sorry. I am sorry for the daughter you lost. I am sorry for the granddaughter or grandson who never got to draw breath. I am sorry for the phone calls that went to voicemail and the 3:46 a.m. text that didn't get answered in time and the 6 days of searching and all the days that have come after. I am sorry that the system added insult to injury in the way that it did. Your daughter, your Ashanti, is not a statistic. She is not a hashtag. She was a person, a full, glorious, complicated, loving, laughing person. And this community holds her. We hold her. And to the baby who never got to breathe outside of her mama, we know you were wanted. We know you were loved before you arrived. You matter. You always will. Y'all, we are still here, together. At the end of this story, I want you to do 5 things before you close this video. 1, comment the word Ashanti in the comment section so that every time someone comes to this video, they see her name over and over because names matter and visibility matters. 2, share this video to at least one person who needs to hear this story. Text it, post it, email it. Our community is the algorithm. We always have been. 3, look up the Black and Missing Foundation. Follow them. Donate if you can. Share their work. They are out here every day for women like Ashanti. 4, have a conversation with someone you love, a daughter, a sister, a friend, about safety planning, about the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233, about what 2-for-1 credit is and why it matters. Our protection starts with us protecting each other. 5, subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell. I will be here every week covering cases like this one because the stories will not tell themselves and our women deserve to be seen. And one last thing, if you are in a situation right now that doesn't feel safe, if you are in a relationship that has the elements I described in this video, please hear me. You are not alone. Help exists. You deserve to be safe. Your baby deserves to be born into safety. Please call 1-800-799-7233. I love this community with my whole entire heart. I love y'all. Until the next one, stay safe, stay loud, and never stop demanding better for our women. Ashanti Allen. Say her name. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear this story. I'll see you there.